have any image in your heart? Did you see anything? The last one, I want you to raise your hands up as soon as you see the image. And I might just give you the mic to tell us what you've seen. When I mention overflow, okay, only 2 people. 3, 4, 5. Overflow. Overflow. So what image of overflow do you see? It is the year of what? Our overflow. What did you see in your heart, man?
Well, I saw like a cup, and then the water was flowing out of it and then spreading to, it was like a cup on the table, and the water was, it was like something was pouring from one end, and the water was flowing on the other end, and it was spilling all over the table.
Hallelujah. She saw a cup, water being poured into a cup, and it overflowed. It's a year of the overflow. Each time, even while the choir were ministering, they mentioned the overflow. But what picture of overflow do you have in your heart? What image of the overflow do you even have any saw in his physical eyes? With his physical eyes? It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. So God said, look. And he looked with his inner eyes. It's our year of the overflow. What are you seeing? What image is formed in your heart? What image? You know, the first question you want to ask at times is this: what really does the overflow mean? What does it mean to you? Have you been able, because those are part of the things that I do. When a word comes at times, the way I meditate on words, prophecies and all that, at times is I go and pick the words. I set the prophecy in context. I look at it in context. Then I try to pick the words that are strong in my heart. And I take time to look at the meaning in the dictionary. We've been talking about the overflow. Have we taken time to even look at what an overflow means? To meditate on that word overflow. In which area will you need that word? In which area will that word apply to you? And so the meaning from the dictionary, it says to flow over bounds. Overflow means to flow over bounds. For a space, it says to fill a space to capacity and spread beyond the limit. It spreads beyond the limit. So God is saying this morning that if you have a limitation, you qualify for an overflow. You qualify for an overflow. It says there's a bound. There is a boundary. But the overflow will go beyond that boundary. There is a capacity. But the overflow will exceed that capacity. There is a limitation, but you will break beyond that limitations. So when you have bounds, when you have limitations, when you have a cap, don't just settle. Just know that because there is a boundary, because there is a limitation, because there is something that is blocking, you qualify for an overflow. So God is saying, irrespective of what is hindering you, irrespective of the state that you find yourself, for the fact that something is hindering you, for the fact that man has placed a limit on you, for the fact that man has said to you, you cannot go beyond this point, that alone is enough reason for you to desire and to experience an overflow. How does overflow happen? We just said that if a space has a capacity, overflow will go beyond that capacity. Let's assume that the capacity of this auditorium is 200 people, 200 seats. When we are talking about an overflow, what happens? That means it goes beyond 200 and it spreads outside. But how does it happen? Or happens? So we are 50. We go out on evangelism. People come in. And then we become 70. And then we become 80, 100. Please help me with that cup. And then on and on. We'll now get to 200. Then we get to 201, 2010, 250. We spread outside. But one thing that I've come to understand when it comes to overflow does not just happen. That's why I'm asking that what is the image that you have in your mind? I've said I will not be tempted to drink this Coke. It's for illustration purpose. Because I need you to have an image in your mind. How does overflow happen? Because the image you have in your heart matters. It matters. So what happens? You are expecting an overflow. What image? You are looking for a situation where it just happened, and there is an overflow. This is a cup. Pastor Shade just told us what she saw when I said overflow.